Okay, hello everybody.
Hi everyone, it's Lada from Astrolada.com and Trifon Nikolov, Vedic and Ancient Astrologer. And we're giving you a quick update today for the month of September, but we're talking about the lunar month of September. Actually, Trifon is going to be talking. He's going to give you the ancient astrology outlook on it. We're going to talk about the eclipses and other indications that are most important for the coming 30 days, 28 days. And good morning, Trifon.
Good morning.
It's 6 o'clock there for you. I hope you've had enough sleep.
Yes, I have. Thank you.
Perfect. So, it's not going to be a long one, guys. It's going to be probably 20, 30 minutes. And
yes,
we're going to, and explain again to people, why are we making always this after the new moon? We're never making it on the 1st of September for the new month, but we're always making those videos with Trifon after the new moon.
Yes, I will explain again. It is today because today starts the new lunar month, the new month of the moon. So it starts today because of the ancient rules of astrology from Babylon. Today will be the first day when the moon crescent will become visible shortly before sunset. And this is the sign of the first day of the moon in this day, in this month of the moon. So
indeed, months are supposed to be based on the moon, because months means a moon month, isn't it? And we've just fucked it up in the last few thousand years with the new calendar system. But this is the real month starts now till the next new moon, 2-3 days after the new moon, the crescent, when the new crescent moon appears. Anyway, I'm not going to interrupt you anymore.
Yes, the dynamics of astrology are connected strongly with the lights. And if we don't have any visible light, then we don't have power. And this is the reason why today is the beginning. The moon and the light of the moon will be visible for the first time after the disappearing of the moon before the new.
What are you going to tell us about the eclipse that was yesterday? Yesterday or the day before yesterday, depending which part of the world you're in. Is it still active?
Yes, it is. It is. It was a very difficult eclipse, and it started to give his effect long before it happens. For instance, in the past month prediction, I told you that when Mars squares the degree of the future eclipse, there can be violence and terrorist acts. And right on this day, but the evening before the day, a couple of hours before that, in Turkey, there was a terrible terrorist act on a wedding.
Really? Oh my God, I don't watch news. I don't know about it. When did it happen?
I think it was on 21st of August.
Oh, okay. That's when
it coincides with exactly this Mars square the eclipse degree.
Yeah.
And I think 12 or 14-year boy enter a wedding in Turkey and kills around 60 people.
Wow, we don't get much cover of those events in the West. I don't know why, but when it happens in a Muslim country, it's like people don't get to hear much about that. Funny enough, when it happens in a Western country, we hear all about any kind of attack. But anyway, but actually the eclipse happened yesterday, but it starts acting a month even before that. And when Mars triggers the degree of the eclipse even before that, quite scary things can happen. But the eclipse yesterday was square Saturn and Mars.
Yes, this is a bad sign, of course. It shows that there will be, again, much problems and political tension and, again, violence in relation with the Middle East and the Near East. It will be so, and also there can happen a death of some famous politic.
How long is that gonna be?
The eclipses can have their effect for a really long time, even for years. This time, I think it will be very strong effect for about a year.
It was such a strong eclipse, you mean?
Yes.
And you see that the killing or death of some big political figure can happen in that time frame.
Yeah, yes, it is. The logic is because the sun, which represents the politics, is squared by two malefic planets from the sign of Death, Scorpio.
Mm-hmm.
Even because the sun was in the constellation of royalty, also some of the royal princes or kings can pass away.
Oh yes, and guys, I remind you, this eclipse, we're talking about mundane astrology, overall astrology, and we're talking about the constellations, the actual constellations. So that's the constellation of the Lion that the eclipse happened in tropical Virgo, but the constellation of Lion, and it was squared by planets in constellation of Scorpion and malefic planets, Saturn and Mars, which is Scorpion is kind of attacks, death, and things like that. Okay, and so it's going to be active for a while, you're saying. So we're not out of the danger zone, basically.
Of course, many people in the world will be affected, especially those who have their ascendant sign in sidereal Leo, or their sun or moon in Leo. In the tropical signs, it is around 18 degrees of Virgo, which means that those people can be born around, for instance, 10th of September, around 10th of September. But
why the 10th of September? Why wasn't it happening now on the 1st of September, the eclipse?
It is because there is an orb of influence. In fact, it will influence 3-4 days after the sunset, after the day of the eclipse, and before. All the people that are born.
So the people born before the 1st
days.
of September, basically the last 4 days of August, and the first 4 days of September.
Yes, they will be most affected.
Okay.
And they are. They knew this already because it starts to happen. I have many cases here already of accidents and other problems.
Of people with such ascendant or sun or moon.
Especially for the ascendant sign.
Why is the ascendant so important?
Because it represents the destiny and the physical body of a person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's why.
And it's wow. So it's and what about the second eclipse?
The second eclipse is not eclipse of the sun. Is the eclipse of the moon on 16th of September. This is the next important point this year, and especially this month. It will happen according to the sidereal astrology and using for the calculations the Ayanamsha used in ancient Sumer and Babylon and in India, but not so widely, especially in ancient India. It will happen in the last degree of Aquarius. It will be visible in Africa, in the Middle East, in Europe, for many peoples and countries.
Yeah.
Yes, but the special point here is that this eclipse in Aquarius will affect most of all some European countries, and they will be Ukraine, Estonia, Litva, all the Baltic countries and maybe some of the Scandinavian.
Because they see it the most.
First of all, Ukraine.
Ukraine. Is it because it's most visible there, or?
No, no. It is because the part of the Aquarius where the eclipse will happen is connected with those countries.
Oh, so the middle, so the Eastern European countries, the old Russian part of the old Russia country, US.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, wow. So yeah, isn't Russia also ruled by Aquarius?
This is different. According to some, Aquarius has rulership over Russia. But in the ancient texts, they say that only those countries and their lands that I just say
Ukraine
are connected with Aquarius.
And Russia?
Russia is, according to me, more like Capricorn in nature. Yeah, but in tropical science, this will become Aquarius. So the truth is more complicated.
And what degree is the eclipse happening in tropical zodiac? Because most of the people that are listening here, they're probably familiar with tropical. It's in constellational Aquarius, but in tropical 24 degrees Virgo approximately, wasn't
23 degrees
Pisces.
Of Pisces.
Yeah, 23
Must be there.
Of Pisces, yeah. Yeah, 23 degree of Pisces. So if you happen to have sun, moon, ascendant, especially the ascendant, from around 2019 Pisces to around 28 Pisces, there can be big changes and big.
Yes, and if you are born in the middle of March, it will affect you too.
Yeah, basically you have those degrees of your sun in the middle of March. And also people, Virgos, basically tropical Virgos will be affected because it's happening opposite their sun, moon, or ascendant. So basically people born around the middle of September as well will feel it.
Yes, they can have some troubles related with paternal figures or some soul suffering.
And how is the lunar eclipse different by the solar according to ancient astrology?
It's not so much connected, especially with politics, but more with peoples.
With personal life of the people.
And with their destiny.
Sorry?
It is more connected with the destiny of the common people. So it can affect more of the common people. And not every time so much the politics. But in this case, it can, because Mars is connected in quartile aspect square. This eclipse can be very difficult on almost every area. So we can predict more violence in Ukraine, for instance, than before, and escalating of the tension between the West and Russia.
Mm-hmm. This eclipse. Yeah. And in the personal lives of people, how does a lunar eclipse act differently than a solar eclipse?
It will make them more vulnerable, so they will be much more emotional, much more capable of doing wrong things, even violence.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it will spoil their emotional life.
Yeah, I see many times when an eclipse, lunar eclipse, falls close to ascendant, moon, an important point in the horoscope, people make big life changes. Something happens, either out of the blue, they make some really big life change that can quite shake them up for a few months, at least. A lot.
Of course, if the degree is close, it will be a significant change.
Sorry, it will be?
there will be significant change in their life if the degree of the eclipse is near some important point, like the ascendant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But this eclipse is again square by Mars, isn't it? Another one of those more violent, angry eclipses.
yes, absolutely. It is again a sign of bad times as a whole for the world in the next months, because Mars will spread hate and violence with this aspect. And also, this can bring some major earthquake, especially in the connected countries. These are the countries of the Near East and already mentioned countries.
Yeah, the eastern, northeastern Europe kind of countries.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Poor guys. I hope you're not many from. But of course, the eclipses every year. So every year, some different set of countries and regions of the world get affected, and sometimes for a bit longer as well. Wow. And what about this retrograde Mercury? How does ancient astrology look on periods of retrograde Mercury?
In ancient astrology, they say when planet is retrograde, there are different opinions. Most of the authors say that the planet becomes weak.
Mm-hmm.
But this time, Mercury is in its own sign, and with Jupiter and Venus.
Yeah.
So it will show also his good sides, but it will be more in the inner life of the people. So it will be a good time to reconsider plans for the future, for instance.
So go to plan B, C, kind of revise, change plans for the future.
Yes, and important changes in the working directions will happen.
In work, because it's in Virgo.
Yes.
What about health? Is Virgo related with health in ancient astrology, like detoxing and cleaning up the body and the system, and maybe like starting some cleansing up of the body in some way, or just throwing out old clothes and putting order and rearranging things, putting more order and efficiency around you, environment.
Of course, it is related. So it's a time for work for the body and soul with this position. Also, the ancients say that when a planet is so close to the sun as Mercury, right now, that this planet is on a council with the gods, which again exemplifies its spiritual nature more than its material effect.
Okay, so basically our mind is consulting with the higher mind, maybe on some subconscious level, and getting new ideas, and maybe kind of listening to the intuition of how to change the plans for the future in some way.
Exactly, and this time Mercury will be not only with the Sun, but with Jupiter and Venus also.
Yeah. So this Mercury retrograde is good, kind of, isn't it?
Yes, he has good sides. According to ancient Vedic astrology, a retrograde planet becomes very powerful in other sense. It can give, for instance, much more years of life. So the babies who are born right now, we can presume that they will live longer than others.
Yeah. Especially with ascendant in Gemini or Virgo constellation.
Yes. But not only, all of them has this position, and it can affect them.
Yeah, I guess.
if they don't have other bad combinations, of course.
Yeah, of course. It's
but generally the case will be this.
But at one point, Mercury squares Saturn, retrograde Mercury squares Saturn. Shouldn't people be more careful not to break, lose, like laptops, phones, and something like some, maybe getting more aggressive in communications and some mistakes that can stress them more as well because of this square Mars? It's a short one. It's maybe 1 week only. It passes away. In the middle, I think it's the 3rd week of September that this is happening.
Yes, we have a big example from, I think, yesterday, when a rocket was launched to some Facebook project, and an accident happened with that rocket. And that project was about to bring internet in Africa. And the shadow of the eclipse was exactly in Africa, and the eclipse affects this way the communication site in Africa. So
if they had only
right
known
now it's not so good, obviously.
Oh wow, poor people. They were supposed to get internet, and the dark forces of the eclipse intervene.
Yeah, and Mark Zuckerberg obviously needs an astrologer.
Obviously.
just to choose the date for
the launch of a rocket. It's not like the launch of a balloon or something. It's a whole rocket.
Yes, they have big losses. I think $200 million because of this fail.
Like how? I mean,
but how they choose the date of the eclipse after all.
Yeah, after Africa was in the eclipse part, and Mercury's
which is known as a bad date.
Oh wow!
Everybody knows that this is a dangerous date.
And he went. I don't know, unless it's kind of
not the scientists.
Yeah, because they don't believe in astrology, but actually the makers, they say that
some of them.
Yeah, because
there are many that are believing
that too, and many. I mean, Reagan was using, and the founding fathers of America, when they started building Washington, they did it according to astrological. I think that with the rise of Sirius, they made sure that when the first day of Sirius becoming visible, they made the first dig of Washington D.C., the town, the capital of the state, basically. So
yes, they made many such operations, astrological.
Yeah, they were in tune, but I guess Mark Zuckerberg has to catch up with the big boys.
Yes.
And is there anything else? Okay, this month seems to be a bit crazy. 2 eclipses, quite powerful, both squared with difficult planets. Is there anything else that you see, astrologically speaking?
Yes, of course. For instance, on the 5th of September, the Sun will conjunct the North Node, which is called Rahu in India.
Yeah.
And this can bring about much more mental problems and psychological problems around the world. And again, because the Sun represents the politics, right on this day, powerful men can have really big troubles, even health troubles.
Health troubles.
Health troubles, yes. Someone can pass away because of the other positions too.
Because of the eclipse, because of Mars.
Yes, because the Sun is in square with Saturn right now.
Yeah.
It's separating, but it's still powerful.
Oh, wow. So what about for normal people? What happens when the Sun is with Rahu for normal people?
It happens, what I say, mental troubles, fears. They can go to, they can have fears that they even don't know where they come from. Especially those who are with ascendant Leo, for instance, they can be most troubled. In ancient times, they even can say that someone can be
crazy.
Can become crazy for a little bit, yes.
Yeah, but it happens every year that the Sun joins Rahu, and people, especially Leo-ruled people, because the Sun rules Leo, tend to kind of, maybe that's when they lose their heads a little bit. Maybe they can go into excesses, because Rahu has that addictive energy as well, doesn't it? To lose one's head, to do risky things.
Yes, exactly. Their passions can become much stronger, and
their rationality and reason, basically.
But generally, this is such a day for most of the people. It can be. It can be.
So, woo! Everyone, go out, get drunk.
They have passions and desires.
Yay! We'll see in the news what's happening. Crazy people running naked in stadiums. But yeah, passions obviously increase a lot more when sun, and because the sun is one's reasonable mind, isn't it? Kind of.
Absolutely, it's the soul of the world.
Yeah, the spirit, and that's connected to God, to the higher mind, and Rahu is kind of the animal mind, as you say.
Or some say demonic powers.
The demonic powers, Rahu. Yeah, the reptilian brain as well, but the demonic take them over. It can be fun as well. A night in Las Vegas, high and drunk, chasing after illegal things. But okay, of course, depends on where the person.
Okay, be careful. Be careful.
Yeah. No, I'm not going anywhere. I'm sitting here sipping my tea and preparing for new webinars. And is there other interesting things that we should watch out for in September?
Yes. Around 9th of September, the moon will activate again the degree of the solar eclipse. And there will be a combination of the moon in Scorpio in conjunction with Mars and Saturn in the sky. And against it, it shows days when violence can happen throughout the world, and terrorist attacks are possible. So it's a generally bad days, 8th and 9th. So if you are planning to do something important, it's better to do it some other days.
Yeah. Okay, so don't do it, plan important things on the 8th and 9th when the moon triggers that eclipse again, guys, in difficult aspect together with Saturn and Mars, the two bodies. And when Mercury goes direct on the 22nd, 21st, should we not travel till then? According to ancient astrology, did they say that this was dangerous for travel or anything like that?
No, it is not so much dangerous. When Mercury turns its motion direct, he becomes stronger. He becomes stronger.
Yeah.
So it will be generally good day for signing contracts and traveling.
Okay. Until then, though, while Mercury is retrograde, should we not travel and sign contracts?
Yes, this can be tricky time for this.
Well, I've seen many people, especially people that have Mercury retrograde in their birth chart, things are okay for them when Mercury is retrograde in the sky. Somehow they feel like that's the only time they buy cars, they sign contracts, and maybe because by birth they're like that.
Yes, there is connection with that, but these are not so much people. But it is true. Also, the retrograde Mercury is good for finishing unfinished work.
Yeah, that's for sure. And re-examining. I remember many times when Mercury goes retrograde, for some reason I'm working on editing some project and wrapping it up, and it requires 3 times more effort. I've always seen it. But then it gives 3 times better results because you've put more effort, you work harder, you use your skills, which is ruled by Mercury more. Most of the time, of course, when your laptop doesn't crash. But I've had very good Mercury retrogrades. For example, on one of those retrogrades, my website, I got really upset because people were saying this website, we don't like it, we can't find things. And because of that, I decided to do a totally new website. website, and Mercury is connected to website. So it's kind of shows you different perspective, those retrograde periods. It says, oh, this is not working well, maybe I should do something else. And thanks to making this new website a year later, but the process started when Mercury was retrograde, me saying, okay, I'm doing a new website and starting to look for new specialists. And within 2-3 months of the retrograde, I started doing the website. But that was the retrograde period, was the moment when I was like, this is not working, I'm going to do a new one. So it's kind of, it can give very good results in the long term when you see something that's not working really well and you say, okay, I'll change it, I'll make a different plan. Plays out better than that.
Yeah, there is a really dangerous day connected with Mercury on 12th of September.
Oh.
And it is because on that day, Mercury will make a square with Mars.
Yeah.
So this is a really bad day, and the joining days, 2-3 days before and after the square, for signing contracts. And the day himself, the 12th, it is dangerous for traveling. Yeah.
Very square.
There is, probability of accidents is higher on the road.
Yeah.
On that day.
Okay. So we're taking notes not to do that. Is it good, like, for example, if to you comes some documents that you started working on from a few months before, and those documents come and you have to sign them now, and Mercury is retrograde. But if you started it from before, it's okay to do it then, isn't it? Because you're wrapping up something.
No, I don't think so.
No, during the Mercury square Mars. I mean, like, during the Mercury retrograde overall.
Yeah, but something that has begun and it will be finished. And if it is a contract, it shows the time of the beginning of the contract after all.
Or if it's the signing up of some sale, or if it's the signing up of some leaving of a job or divorce.
If you wish to end something, it's different.
Okay,
then it is good.
Okay, retrograde periods are good to end things basically from the past that come to us. Okay, so that's good to know. Right. So anything else you want to tell us to scare us?
On the 17th of September, there will be the square of the Sun with Mars. This is exactly the day after that.
17th. So the eclipse is on the 16th?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I forgot. Okay.
And this shows a day when those terrorist attacks can happen and the death of some important political figure.
Okay. So the middle of the month, again, it's one of those things that we talk about, that it can be triggered. Guys, watch out on the news and write to us. You know, this video will be on from now on, and let's see how those predictions are panning out. This is very interesting branch of astrology called Monday in Astrology, which predicts worldly events. And it's fascinating how we can pick Trifon's brain and see how destiny and works over the whole, now with the whole universe, how it's working and what's coming for us. So that'll be very interesting to observe the developments. And thank you for those predictions. And I want to say that Trifon will be doing a webinar. I'll participate as well, but we'll be doing a webinar on the 10th of October, which is Saturday for most countries. And 10th of October, we'll be doing a webinar on the Arabic points of love. These are specific points which show you the point of marriage, the point of passion in your horoscope, the point of desire and eros, what you find attractive, and these points are the deciding one for marriage and for attraction between people. It's not the sign of your moon, it's not the sign of your Venus, it's not as powerful as those specific points, Arabic points. How would you describe them? Arabic points of love?
Yes, the lots of faith and love. They are the most important thing in when you have to compare two horoscopes and the compatibility in love.
Because most astrologers use like they compare moons, or they compare Venuses, and they compare aspects between the planets, but you say this is not powerful.
I know this is the usual practice, but in fact, these points are much more important, powerful, and most of all, they work because you can have. For instance, you know someone who has the moon in the sign of your sun, but you don't have any relationship. I mean, intimate relationship with such a person.
Or sexual attraction to them.
Yeah, many people have these aspects, but they do not have relationship. But if there is a close aspect with those points, it's really different.
And those points are a combination of a few points in your horoscope, a combination of Venus, Ascendant, Moon, or a combination. They're very ancient. I think they first were given in Egypt, weren't they? The Egyptian points.
Yes, they come from Egyptian astrology. At least the first source about them is it is said it is from Egypt.
Yeah. So this is very ancient astrology, guys. Again, just like the webinar Trifon did with about the fixed stars, and everyone that came, they were fascinated. This information, if you still want to access it, it's on the website astrolada.com. I'll put a link for this webinar for the fixed signs, which shows specific talents and qualities and predestinations in your horoscope. Even if you don't know any astrology, this webinar is so easy, and it's information that we haven't had access for such a long time, and astrologers haven't used. And it's ancient astrology. The creators of astrology gave us that information. It's actual, observational astrology that the fixed stars, they could say whether you have talents in singing, in dancing, in writing, in science, in whether you'll be a leader, whether you have lots of money. These are the specific things that make a person stand out and have a specific, more unique destiny in life, because not everyone has fixed stars. Everyone has the sun, moon, Venus, but the fixed stars make your destiny a bit out of the ordinary, with more bigger mission in sometimes. But we're going to talk now the next webinar, and everyone that took the first webinar, amazing information. You can't find it, but on the 10th of October, if you want to sign up for it, I'm going to put a link very soon within the next day for the webinar on the 10th of October. And those of you who were with us on the previous webinar, you get 20% off on that webinar. So just write to us. We'll send you a special link for that. And new people, for them, it will be the normal price. And this, we're going to talk about Arabic points of love, how to really find compatibility in the horoscope, how to really find who's going to make your heart flutter, your stomach flutter, and who is more likely, who you can get married. For example, it's so funny because Trifon was telling me, oh, someone with this star sign will really kind of grab your heart. And I was like, it's not compatible with any of my planets, neither my moon nor my sun. How can someone with totally different sign grab me? And it's true, because my point of love and marriage is there. So my point of love and concord or something like that. And yeah, these points work like magic. They're crazy, so we're gonna calculate them all, teach you how to calculate, and show you lots of examples of people that have couples of true love that have combinations between those points of love, Arabic or Egyptian points of love and attraction. Would you like to add something, Trifon?
Yes, I would like to say that 18th of September, the same model continues because Mars makes certain aspects, and again it's a violent day. But on the next day, on 19th of September, Venus conjunct a very important star, and the day will be excellent for spiritual practices. After that, on 26th of September, The Sun and Jupiter will conjunct, which makes again excellent day about practices and new beginnings. If you wish to begin something.
Oh, so it seems like the latter part of the month is better than the first part of the month.
It is.
So on the 19th, Venus is joined with Spica. Was it Spica?
Yes, it is Spica.
Which is very spiritual star. And then the Sun joins Jupiter. Wonderful time for new beginnings.
Absolutely.
There'll be more fortunate. There'll be more opportunities for growth with those.
Especially on 26th of September. If you like to start a new work project, it will be excellent.
Ah, great. Cool. Let me write this down so I can start on 26th September. Start new projects.
Yes, especially about work.
Yes.
Business project.
And Mercury is moving direct already. The eclipses have passed. The 10 days since the last eclipse have passed. So things start brightening up a little bit, guys, after the storm of September.
Yes, September has its good days. They are the days that I didn't mention.
The good days.
The good days.
You didn't mention.
Yes.
Yeah, let's start with the negative voice.
Yeah. I was just talking about dangers, but the other days are not so bad.
Okay.
Especially those in the second house.
So the second half, maybe not exactly the 16th, the 18th, because this is when Mars makes the hard aspect and the eclipse is happening, isn't it?
Yes, and I would like to add the next good date about starting something is right in the beginning of the next month, on 3rd of October, when the prediction for the next lunar month will be made.
Okay, so it's always a good time to start something new when it's the start of the new lunar month.
Most of the
or
cases.
This one in particular. Okay. Yeah. Wonderful. Great. Thank you so much. So the 26th of September, wonderful for starting new projects. Also the 3rd of October, really good day to start new project, guys. And on the 3rd of October, we'll be back again with a prediction for the next month, from the 3rd of October to around the 3rd of November, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, generally the month is good for work and working on health-related matters.
Work and health-related matters. Start that juicing diets, guys. I see you kind of lost weight or something. You're looking better. You must have started working on that.
It just happened.
Ah. Well, thank you so much, Trifon. Do you think we're finished now? Do we have anything more to say, or?
No, I think that's
perfect.
So
well,
thank you, people. Have a wonderful month.
After your prediction, I doubt it.
Some of them obviously will not do so, but most of them.
Sorry, people say I'm insensitive that I laugh about such things, but it's just sometimes. That's the only way. That's how I react to stressful news. I start laughing like crazy. But thank you. I love those predictions. I love them, and we can see how things pan out. And last repeat, the most key periods when we have to be most careful about are the days?
They are 12th of September, 8th and 9th of September, and between 16th and 19th of September.
Okay, guys, so be careful about those days. And then on 26th of September, you know, you can start new beginnings. It's a good time onward. So thank you, Trifon. Have a great day. And come and join us on the 10th of October for the next webinar with Trifon. I'm gonna be there because I take lessons from him as well. So I want to learn about those Arabic points, and I've been practicing with them since he told me about them, and I've been seeing some amazing. Especially in regards to love. That's what I care about. Love points, in regards to compatibility, and that's for professional astrologers, for people who know no astrology either, will teach you how to calculate those things. So, and how to compare them and what to look and what indications to see. So thank you so much, Trifon, and have a great weekend.